Hari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. वृंदावन धाम की जय. मायापुर धाम की जय. मथुरा धाम की जय. नवद्वीप धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा माई की जय. यमुना माई की जय. तुलसी देवी की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय. समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते महाविष्णु स्वामी नामिने. नमो विष्णुपादाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण. Thank you, Mother Indravali.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
before there's a class, I would like to take the blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas and permission from all of you. I say Kaivalya Prabhu, Vishnugata Prabhu.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtapraya Sapatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhaktir. Hare Krishna. So we're going to read from the 1, chapter 12, the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj, and then text 22 today. Mrigendraiva Vikranto Nisevyo Himavaniva Titikshur Vasudeva So Sahishnu Pitaraviva Mrigendraiva Vikranto Nisevyo Himavaniva Titikshur Vasudeva So Sahishnu Pitaraviva Mrigendraiva Vikranto Nisevyo Himavaniva Titikshur Vasudeva So Sahishnu Pitaraviva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mrigendra iva vikranto nishevyo himavaniva titikshura vasudhavaso sahishnu pitarav iva.
Mrigendra iva vikranto nishevyo himavan iva titikshur vasudevasao sahishnu pitaraviva.
Hare Krishna. Mrigendra iva vikranto nishavyo himavaniva titikshur vasudeva so shahishnu pitaraviva. Hare Krishna.
Mrigendra iva vikranto nishevyo himavan iva titikshur vasudevasau sahishnu pitarav iva.
Hare Krishna. Mrugendra iva vikranto nishevyo himavaniva titikshur vasudevaso sahishnu pitarav iva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mrigendra iva vikranto nisebhyo himavaniva titikshara vasudeva sa sahishna pitaraviva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mrigendra eva vikranto nishevyo himavan iva titikshur vasudeva so sahishnu pitarav iva. Hare
Mrigendra iva vikranto nishevyo himavan iva titikshur vasudeva so sahishnu pitaraviva.
Mrigendra iva vikranto nisevyo himavaniva titikshur vasudevaso sahishnu pitaraviva.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go for word. Mrigendraha, the lion, Iva, like, Vikrantaha, powerful, Nisevyaha, worthy of taking shelter, Himavan, the Himalaya mountains, Eva, like, Titikshuhu, forbearance, Vasudhaiva, like the earth, Asau, the child, Shahishnuhu, tolerant, Tarau, parents, Eva, like. Translation and purport by Jivan Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. His child strong as a lion and as worthy a shelter as the Himalaya mountains. He will be forbearing like the earth and as tolerant as his parents. Purport. One is compared to the lion when one is very strong in chasing an enemy. One should be a lamb at home and a lion in the chase. The lion never fails in the chase of an animal. Similarly, the head of the state should never fail in chasing an enemy. The Himalaya mountains are famous for all richness. There are innumerable caves to live in, numberless trees of good fruits to eat, good springs to drink water from, and profuse drugs and minerals to cure diseases. Any man who is not materially prosperous can take shelter of these great mountains, and he will be provided with everything required. Both the materialist and the spiritualist can take advantage of the great shelter of the Himalayas. On the surface of the earth, there are so many disturbances caused by the inhabitants. In the modern age, the people have begun to detonate atomic weapons on the surface of the earth. And still, the earth is forbearing to the inhabitants, like a mother who excuses a little child. Parents are always tolerant to children for all sorts of mischievous acts. An ideal king may be possessed of all these good qualities, and the child Parikshit is foretold to have all these qualities in perfection. Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansa Shri Rupam Sakshatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sagadyutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitamsa. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Ansha Kalpatarivasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Sloka again. Mrigendra iva vikranto nisevya himavaniva titikshur vasudeva so shahishnu vidaraviva. Translation once again. This child will be as strong as a lion and as worthy a shelter as the Himalaya mountains. He will be forbearing like the earth and as tolerant as his parents. So we are reading the qualities of child Parikshit to be king, foretold by the astrologer Brahmanas when King Yudhishthira was inquiring. So we heard almost Mahabharata stories in our previous classes, like very interesting stories. So in today's verse, these Brahmanas are forecasting the qualities. All are the we heard other many qualities in previous classes, and other qualities are coming also, but this one is some more qualities of Devi Parikshit. Here, Brahmanas are saying Mrigendra Iva Vikranto, like powerful like the lion. And then we all know how powerful is lion when, especially when chasing the animals for prey or enemy. And then we also remember from Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna says himself that I am lion among the beasts or animals. Mriganam cha mrigendroham. I mean, I am the lion among animals, and Garuda among the birds, like that. And then the second line, the verse, it says, Nisevyo Himavan Eva, worthy of taking shelter like Himalaya. And in these two lines, we can see connection, like both are powerful, like lion and then Himalayan. Here, the child, the Brahman is saying this child will be powerful like the lion while chasing the animals, any animals or enemies, but worthy of taking shelter as Himalayan. Why? Because the mountains give shelter to anyone, whether foe or friends. Like it will be explained further in purport by Srila Prabhupada. And then in the next next line, they say, I mean, Titikshur Vasudeva, so forbidding like the earth, Vasudha, earth. And then I don't have to explain this one. And then in the fourth line, Shahishnu Pitaraviva, tolerant like parents. And then we can see connection again in these two lines, third and fourth line. Here, his child is going to be tolerant like Mother Earth, and again tolerant like parents. So both like Titikshur and Sahishnu, both are like similar, but why it is given like forbearing like Mother Earth, and then again tolerant like parents. So in this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, in his commentary, Sarartha Darshini, he gave one commentary. I would like to share that one, just not only so that we can read this one. So, okay. Anyone would like to volunteer to read?
Yeah, I can. Oh, go ahead, Prabhu.
You can go ahead, Matan, if you want. Sararth Darshini, the earth, though all enduring, does not experience the pain of others' sharp words, but he, even though sometimes experience that pain, will not react. The example of that is the patience or tolerance of the parents. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here, like when I read that, I was like confused, like couldn't get it. But and then I mean, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur is saying like though all enduring does not experience the pain of others' sharp words. Like even though we see like people are mining, taking coal mines, gold mines, like whatever mines, and then petroleum products, they are all getting from earth, digging all those things. I mean, everything, but she will not experience that pain of others' sharp words. But he means this child, Parikshit, even though sometimes experiencing that pain will not react. The example for that is the patience or tolerance of the parents. So here, that's why two words, Titikshu and Sahishnu, are used to describe Parikshit Maharaj's quality, saying that he is that much tolerant that even the physical, emotional, anything he can tolerate. And then we know the past time when Parikshit Maharaj saw that one Sudra, sorry, 1 second, was abusing this cow and bull he was beating with stick. And when Parikshit Maharaj saw that he could not tolerate that one, and then he was almost trying to kill that Shudra who was Kali personified. So immediately that Kali personified was scared. I mean, that he was so scared because he was like, Parikshit, another quality here is like a lion, like chasing enemy while chasing enemy. So he was so scared, and then he takes off his kingly, he was wearing that kingly garment. So he takes off that kingly dress, and then he falls at the feet of Parikshit Maharaj and begs for his life, that I'm also your subject, please don't kill me. And then Parikshit Maharaj, having all those good qualities, like he considers that one who comes to your shelter, we should not kill. And then So it is, I mean, I took this from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's article, Bengali article, which was published in the weekly magazine called Gaudiya. So there, the title was The 5 Places of Kali. And then Parikshit Maharaj gives him 4 places because he was like doing adharma, because he was doing everything opposite dharma. So he gave these places of adharma for him, like, or four things like we follow 4 regulative principles. It's like exact opposite of 4 regulative principles. The place wherever there is slaughter, gamble, intoxication, illicit sex, all those places. He says you can you can stay there, even in my kingdom. But Kali was not satisfied with that. And then he says, like, these are not, whenever, till the time King Parikshit is here, these are not freely available. So he was like, he was like, you gave me this, but I'm not satisfied. Like, it is almost like no place for me. So he asks for like some place where I can find these or all of these together, or any of these, so I can stay there. And then like Kali gets the place. Parikshit Maharaj gives gold. Okay, you can sit at gold. So this is another story. We'll not go there. And then so he forgave Kali, and Kali personified. And then, but another event, when he was cursed by that Brahmana boy, Shringi, son of Samikari, he used the sarpur that you will die in 7 days with a snake bite. We know that Takshaka, snake Takshaka, that King Parikshit had the capacity, he could counteract that curse, or he could even kill that Takshaka, that he was that powerful. But he did not retaliate, he just tolerated. That's why here his quality is glorified, not only forbearing as Mother Earth, like he did to Kali, but tolerant like parents. We don't need to explain about how tolerant parents are to their kids. And this is also the quality of a devotee. There's a famous sloka where this word titik shahishnu is mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone can remember that verse? Shahishnu.
Manina Manadana, Kirtanya Sada.
Thank you. Sam Prabhu, thank you, Charutan Prabhu. Yeah, Shichastakam verse 3 Bisnichena, Tarurupi Sahishnana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanya Sadahari. Humbler than a blade of grass, more forbearing than a tree. And then Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he writes, one is compared to the lion when one is very strong in chasing an enemy. One should be a lamb at home and a lion in the chase. The lion never fails in the chase of an animal. Similarly, the head of the state should never fail in chasing an enemy. So, in this regard, I found one of Srila Prabhupada's room conversation. It was nice, like one should be lamb at home and lion in the chase. So I want to play that. It's like 1 minute audio clip. Shall I play that?
Yes, please.
Let me share this one. And
how does one become humble and remain humble? How to become humble and remain humble? Same question one devotee asked you in Chicago. Try to explain. He said you can become humble by becoming aggressive for Krishna. One girl was asking that when we're doing Sankirtan, I must be very aggressive. But when I come to the temple, then I'm supposed to be very humble. Prabhupada's answer
A
was
lamb at home, a lion in the chase. When you are chasing, you must be a lion. But when you come home, you do not try to chase the devotees.
So yeah, it was like that part that where Srila Prabhupada says like we should not chase the devotees. And then further in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Himalayan mountains, it was about the line. And then again in purport he writes, oh, did you notice that the room conversation was in Philadelphia in 1973? And then further in the purport, he writes, the Himalayan mountains are famous for all richness. There are innumerable caves to live in, numberless trees of good fruits to eat, good springs to drink water from, and profuse drugs and minerals to cure diseases. Any man who is not materially prosperous can take shelter of these great mountains, and he will be provided with everything required. Both the materialist and spiritualist can take advantage of the great shelter of the Himalayas. So, I mean, about Himalayas, again, there is another verse where Lord Krishna himself says, I am the Himalaya among immovables, chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. And then this is also another form of power, describing Parikshit Maharaj, who gives shelter. Like there's a song in Nepali. It says like, we should be like Himalaya. So by denoting determination, but here it says Himalaya, another form of power, who gives shelter also. So and then Srila Prabhupada says there are many hubs, mines. I mean, we know that. And not only that, like for materialistic people, they can get all those prosperities from Himalaya or mountains. And then for devotees or for the one who is seeking after absolute truth, they go to the Himalayas for meditation or yoga or austerities, like we know famous Kailas Parvat, and then Badrika Ashram, all those places. And about the reasons of this Himalayan, further verses are coming behind us, like 30, I think it's 33, 34 verse, where Lord Krishna will advise King Yudhishthira for performing that horse sacrifice to go to the northern region where King Maruta, one of the ancestors of King Yudhishthira, so he had left this big, huge mountain of gold. I mean, we will read in detail in coming slokas. And then coming to another quality here, Titikshu, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in purport that on the surface of earth, there are so many disturbances caused by the inhabitants. In the modern age, the people have begun to detonate atomic weapons on the surface of the earth. We hear every time in the news. And still the earth is forbearing to the inhabitants, like a mother who excuses a little child. Parents are always tolerant to children for all sorts of mischievous acts. An ideal king may be possessed of all these qualities, and the child Parikshit is foretold to have all these qualities in perfection. So we saw how King Parikshit tolerated the harsh words and accepted it as Lord's plan. But in our context, like if someone says a little unpleasant word, how do we react? I don't know about you, but I will be like, for me, that person will be gone. I'm an enemy forever. Like, even though I know theoretically that I should not do that, but in my heart, I will take him as like, oh, I'm not going to talk to him, or I'm not going to talk to that devotee, or like this. But when we physically get hurt, it will heal soon. There is a saying like, but when you get emotionally hurt, it's hard to heal. It's like forever. But King Parikshit is Sahishnu, tolerant. So, I mean, we read many qualities before also, and now today also we read these qualities. Actually, it's 2, but in the sloka it looks like 4. But my question is, why are we reading these qualities of child Parikshit here in Srimad Bhagavatam in so detail? To answer this, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, if anyone remembers. Big quiz.
Hare
And
Krishna.
here, yes, Madhu.
I can think that we are reading about Parikshit Maharaj because he set a great example for us. He was brave also, he was kind also, and he was pure, and how we should take our death easily. That's what I can think of.
Yeah, thank you. That's the one. But there is a verse, whatever you said. Yeah. Yad yad acharati shresthas tatta devatarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Like you said, like whatever action a great man performed, because he's going to be a king, performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary act, all the world pursues. So, and then Srila Prabhupada, in the purport to this verse, in 3rd chapter, 21 verse, he says, people in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. Right? So, we might not be a leader like a king. Here is like kingly qualities, not only kingly, it is like it comes under the 26 qualities of a devotee that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has explained Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then in Bhagavad Gita also, like in 18th chapter, around 41, 42 verse, Lord Krishna mentioned the qualities of Brahmanas. And the verse word Chanti, there is a word, Chanti for tolerance. So, I mean, I'm saying like, when we think for ourselves, like I'm not a leader or I'm not a king to have all these qualities. I'm a normal human being. We say that like, no, I'm normal human. I can have flaws like that. But here, why Srila Prabhupada is stressing in this one, like whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. So we might not be a leader like a king or a leader, but we are a tiny leader to ourselves. Like I think we discussed this months ago also in our class here. So we're a leader to our kids or our family, friends, or like if a husband is their wife or somebody, like, you know, you have somebody who is following you or us in our steps. So that's why it's like we can't say like don't do this when we are doing that thing. And then I remember one incident. I mean, I think it was Gauranga Prabhu who was sharing in his class. He said one time one Mataji came with her son. That son was so obsessed with chocolate. He liked chocolates. And then she came to the temple and she came in front of one Brahmachari Prabhu there. And then he's like, Prabhuji, can you tell my son not to eat chocolate? It's not good for his health. His teeth are all rotten, like that. And then that Prabhu was like, oh, can you come after a week? And then she was like, okay. And after a week, the mom comes with the kid again. And then that time that Prabhu tells the boy that, you know, these chocolates are not good for your health. You'll get your teeth are, your teeth will get rotten or all those things. It's not good for your health. You should eat like healthy food, all those kind. And he says that, and then mom was like perplexed, like, why did he say this one word, one sentence in that day when I met him? Now he made me to come after 1 week, and he's saying the same thing. And then she asks him, like, why did you make me to come after a week? You could have said this the first time we met. And then he said, like, that time I also was eating chocolate or something sweet. I mean, so I cannot tell him to stop if I'm doing that. That's why I abstained from chocolate for a week so that I can tell him not to eat chocolate. So the action speaks louder than words. And then our mission is like preaching with example, like our Srila Prabhupada himself did. That's why he's our Acharya, preeminent Acharya. So with this, I would like to conclude. I know I may have said something mistakes or something. Any corrections or any additional points? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
If anybody has questions, comments, reflections, please. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Vishnu
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother Syamagori. So you read nicely about how Parikshit Maharaj has the qualities of Sahishnana and Titikshava. But then later, when he was out hunting and he came to the ashram of a sage who was meditating and practicing in meditation, he became irritated, angry, and resulted in his being cursed. So how did that happen if he's Sahishnana and Titikshava?
Yeah, if we, I mean, from the story part of point, I know you know the answer. You're just, I mean, what to say? But from the story part, when King Parikshit was saving that cow and bull, and he gave the place to Kali personified to stay in 4 places, and then later he gives the place to stay on gold. So one way to look at it is like the gold, he was wearing the mukut made of gold, so Kali came to his head, and that's how his mind, I mean, he was out of mind. And then we can see, like, for 7 days, when at the last, when he get cursed, for 7 days he didn't get thirsty or hungry or anything. He was not sleeping, not eating, not drinking. For 7 days he could tolerate that. But how can we say that he could not tolerate that thirst for not even a day? He was hunting out, and then he felt that thirst, and then he went to Samagrisi's ashram and he got mad. So that is the one way to, I looked at it, like Kali was making him to get agitated because he wanted to get rid of him so that he can have, he can come in, Kali can come in. And the other point is, like, we can see like how Krishna always uses his devotees as an instrument to teach us lessons. So I don't know, Prabhu, you have the points right now.
What do others say? Anybody has some comment?
Prabhu's hand. Yeah.
Vishnugada Prabhuji, I think in one of those purports, Prabhupada writes that Parikshit Maharaj getting angry is impossible, that it is the will of the Lord that happened.
Yes. Yes. So ordinarily it wouldn't happen, and then that's how Parikshit Maharaj took it also. He could have counteracted the curse, but he didn't, because he took it. This must have been arranged by Lord Krishna for some reason. And so then he accepted it as Krishna's arrangement. And although ordinarily he's Tikshava and Sahishnana, somehow this happened and he took it as Krishna's arrangement to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Brahmanas Prabhu had another question, maybe. He had his hand up before.
Yes. I was just trying to understand this tolerance part here about Mother Earth. The example is given. And in the subsequent chapter, when Parikshit receives Kali also, at that time, Mother Earth is in deep sorrow and actually expressing her big grief. And in some places, we also see Mother Earth approached Brahma complaining, the overburdening, because of the asuras. So how should I understand whether it is, tolerance? Then at the same time, we also see that the person is approaching the authority and expressing concern and complaint. So it apparently seems to be contradicting, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when you cannot do anything, you are like Mother Earth. She did not, do herself anything. She was just asking for help from the Lord or Brahmaji. So even though she was, when we see like it was intolerable for her, even though she was tolerating, I don't have any extra points to add. I'll pass it to Krishna Kadapa.
Acharya Prabhu has his hand there. He would like to comment there.
You first, Prabhu.
No, you should go first. It's okay.
Okay. A person for their own situation can tolerate anything, but that's not the same. But for those under your care, you don't tolerate. You have to protect them, those under your care. So Mother Earth may personally tolerate, but she's responsible for all the living entities on the planet who are being put into difficulty by all the evil kings or whatever the situation was. So for ourselves, we can tolerate, but for those under our care, we don't tolerate as much.
Thank you, Rosie. And do you have more points, Acharya Prabhu?
No, that's it. Thank you for the nice class.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for nice. Ramnath Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Spawn Philadelphia host.
Hare Krishna, Mother Syamagori, thank you again for a wonderful class. So part of the question I think was answered, but for the earlier question about tolerance and so if it is Krishna's will that made Parikshit Maharaj lose his ability to tolerate, do we use that as an excuse whenever I lose my patience? If I lose do I just, you said earlier, I'm just a normal person, I'm an ordinary person, I'm not, do I just say, okay, I lost my patience? That was, I know I use the word excuse, so that means I'm already thinking that it's wrong to use that, but
I know others have important input in this, but if I have to say, if I have to answer for this, I would say, like, are we that qualified to be used or used by Krishna? So, I mean, personally, I feel like we're not that qualified so that Krishna will use me or to use that as an excuse. So, if anybody has a additional input in this. Other than Devali has a okay.
I'm just answering for Shobara this message. So she must be wearing gold at that time. The spur of the moment. That's true. Say we have that. But later on she feels. But the spur of the moment we get. Might be that is the reason. I don't know. It's a nice class, Shyama.
Prabhu. Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice class. You really explained very nicely. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You're still questioning about Mother Shobarade's question?
Yeah. It comes into my mind also, like sometimes, we do something and then we're like, oh, maybe Krishna is willing to have this thing happen.
Yeah, so I mean, you could ask the question, and in general, the general principle is tolerance, general principle, and then so Mother Shobharade's question was, so what happens? Sometimes you explode, and perhaps most likely inappropriately, and so can you explain it away as being, oh, that's Krishna's arrangement? Well, probably not. Usually the general principle is to have tolerance. On the other hand, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Narad Muni and the snake, which you probably know, where the snake was living, a cobra, and Narad Muni was passing by, and somehow he became attracted to Narada's effulgence and demeanor and things, so he wanted to become his disciple. So the snake said, what should I do to become your disciple? So Narad Muni said, well, you got to stop biting people, unnecessarily, all this biting. So the snake said, okay, so be it. Yes, I'll do that. So then kids, they would sometimes come by and they noticed the snake's not attacking them. So they started throwing rocks and injuring the snake, and he became injured in so many ways. So next time Narada Muni came by, he said, Maharaj, I'm following your order, but I'm getting pummeled by all these people. So what did Narada tell him?
You're a snake, you have to show your, there's nothing wrong in showing your
hoods, yeah. I told you not to bite, but I didn't say you can't show your hoods. So yeah, so that kind of comes with it. It's not that you're going to become, a pushover and whatever, but in certain circumstances, depends on the circumstance, time, and all that stuff. But that's certainly an appropriate example in some cases. And in some cases, as especially if you see a problem is occurring that's not just affecting you, but other people, then it might need to be brought to the attention of authorities or others, have some responsibility to address the situation if it becomes problematic, not just for you. Of course, in this case, the cow, Mother Earth in the shape of a cow, she wasn't the only one being attacked. Who else was being attacked?
The bull.
The bull. So you could make a case that, hey, well, she may not have objected on her case, but be told, but what about the bull? What about her? So you could make that case too. Acharya Prabhu has a comment there.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Just another thought on Parikshit losing his temper at, was it Syamagori, was the sage? That, of course, it's part of a whole big pastime that Krishna arranged for the speaking of Bhagavatam. And, he's a pure devotee, a great devotee. But even a really advanced devotee, I wouldn't say everyone, but anyone can lose their cool sometimes, even if we forget the fact that it's Krishna's arrangement. Almost anyone can lose their cool. Bharat Maharaj was so advanced, but he lost his cool for a moment. There's so many examples of even the 6 Goswamis not losing their cool, but inadvertently there's some offense and there's some reaction. But the way they handled it, I think, is instructive. They didn't blame anyone. Like Parikshit Maharaj, okay, I lost my cool and I got this curse. Okay, there's a reaction. So, losing your cool or losing your composure for a moment, we don't say it's Krishna's arrangement. We don't blame it on someone else, but we accept the consequences and go on with our devotional service, like Parikshit Maharaj did, like so many devotees did. Even leaving aside whether or not it's Krishna's personal arrangement, the way they handled it is still exemplary for us.
Developer, you have some points? Unmuted. He has anything. That's why, I mean, every day we hear Srimad Bhagavatam and all these Mahajans or all these qualities of devotees or like pastimes where we get to know like what we should be doing and what we should not be doing. So I think so every morning when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, read all those pastimes. So it keeps us in track for the day. That's why Nityam Bhagavata. Thank you so much. If anyone has anything else to add. Not me. Can we? Mother Sogarade has shared this.
Yeah, yesterday Ramcharan Prabhu said he would send us a link. So this was the link about Urvashi's curse on Arjuna. So I just shared that. I guess if there are no more questions, comments, we can end the class. Thank you again, Mother Syamagori. I think we've discussed very important points about tolerance and patience. Thank you again. We'll join again tomorrow morning at 7:50 for Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Thank you very much, Syamagori. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Deo Vaishnava, Deo Namo Namah.
Jai.
Thank you very much. I'll